Hey,
How you all doing?
Marquand. Hey, how are you?
I'm doing okay,
Good.
man. I'm doing okay. I want to start out by sending my regards, and I know some of you guys knew him, Vaughn McClure. I want to send my regards. I want to start out by saying that good man, and I have much respect for him, and gonna be terribly missed. Um, Shocker. So I just wanted to make sure that I said that. So how you all doing?
Doing all right, thanks. Kayvon Wallace has obviously played a little bit more in recent weeks. I'm sure some of that is due to injury, but also, what has he shown you to earn some more playing time?
He's become. Here's the good part about him. He's maturing at a nice pace. The detail in meetings, taking it to the practice field, and now getting live game action. You know, not having a preseason for them has been huge around the league. It has been huge. So to get game action and come in, and I've thought he's done a really good job of acclimating himself to smaller roles and dominating those. And that's kind of been from the standpoint of watching him getting a chance to play on teams and flourish and coming in and play a little defense and understanding what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and taking the classroom to the field. So that's been huge.
Les and then Jeff.
Hi, Marquand. I've been talking to several players this week about trying to play man defense. This is a defense that's played a lot of zones since Jim got here. Now you're playing man, particularly on third down, it seems like, and you're having some problems with picks and rubs. How do you get guys through that? What do you tell them? How do you teach what they have to do there?
Well, I'm glad you said that. One of the things that you have to understand is the urgency to get lined up. That's one of the final things. Offenses they come out the huddle, they burst out the huddle, and all those small things, they want to catch you off guard. And if you can get lined up most of the majority of the time, especially if they want to get to certain formations in order to run certain routes, understanding the down and distance, that's one of the things that we have to reiterate. And when you're playing with a couple different guys, and it's different when I'm just lining up one on one and I'm by myself. But when I definitely have somebody else that I'm in close relationship to, I got to understand what's going on, the urgency to get out, line up, communicate, and execute. So that's been the huge part of understanding that and getting better at that.
Is there something with pick or rub that you can tell guys about how to deal with it? I think Nickel Robey-Coleman was saying, he tries to tell guys to keep the receiver on their hip and stuff like that.
That's one
What
of the
do you
things
tell
that
them?
Yeah, that's one of the things you guys know this by watching offenses. They won't pick each other. So a lot of how we technically talk about it is understanding that I know how to tailpipe and get in hip pockets. And how fast do I do that? It's a split-second decision that you have to make on reaction. And if you don't, at times you will get picked. And understanding that it's a alignment, assignment, and adjustment that you have to make in a hair second. And that being positive from that standpoint, now I won't get picked. And understand that down and distance, that dictates a lot of what I may see in those pick routes.
Thank you.
And then Bo.
Yeah, we haven't spoken to you since the Eagles made the cuts before the season started. But Sidney Jones and Russell Douglas were two guys that have been here for a long time, and they didn't make the cut. And now they're on other teams, starting and making strong contributions. I'm wondering what your opinion of that decision, and what does it say that they're going to have production elsewhere versus here?
I take my hat off to those guys. They both worked when I came in. About the decision, the rosters is up to Howie and Doug. We just come in and, those guys came in and bust their tail, and I was excited about that part. And that was one of the things that we talked about while they were here. The things that we needed to get and reach the goals that we wanted to. And it's unfortunate that they didn't end up on our roster, but always, and as a man who coaches in this profession, you always want to see your guys exactly do what they sought out to do. And those guys are going out and playing football, understanding the situations and dominating when the opportunities come. And as you guys seen it, the step-by-step times that it takes to do that. So excited from that standpoint. Always you understand that, but we have the guys that we have here are battling, and I'm excited about that as well.
Bo and then Zach.
With Jalen Mills, Marquand, as he sort of ping pongs back and forth between positions, does it matter if he has the week to practice at a specific position, or can he just sort of go in wherever he has to go?
I don't know if you guys remember when I first started talking about him. He is one of those football players, meaning that he's been in this defense for now going on 5 years and understanding it's been a lot of conversations that happen, a lot of adjustments that happen. Moving down to safety, his eyes were going to be different, but the physicality was a little thing that he had to get used to from that standpoint. But moving back outside, he's seen the same thing for 4 years. And that's been huge on him being versatile. That has helped us a lot. And not only that, being the ultimate team player to just say, hey, whatever you need me to do, coach. And that's been huge.
Zach and then Martin.
Hey, as far as Avonte Maddox, before the injury, how do you think he was playing? And obviously, given the way Darius is playing and the reputation Darius has, are you expecting that other corner, whether it's Avonte or someone else on a given week, to be perhaps picked on a little more?
I wouldn't say picked on. Here's one of the things that we talk about in our room all the time as a DB. When I get on the field, happened with Craig James, I always say this, throw the ball at me. And that's why I say that. You put in the hard work, you're getting your opportunity. This league, and everyone's dealing with the same thing around the league. Injuries may happen. That's why we have a roster. And guys who come in and you prepare as you are a starter. Those that understand who I am and what I'm about, that's how I always prepare. The backup guy who possibly goes in and he may start on any given Sunday. I may play 1 or 53 plays. I may play that many. So I think just from that standpoint, to answer your question, I thought Avonte was coming in and getting into his own playing outside. You know, he had his ups and downs, and when I say that, he battled and competed, and we were just refining his technique along the way. He's the ultimate competitor. So I think at times, you know, understanding what was about to happen to him and attacking it, as you guys can see, he was making those plays, and unfortunately he got hurt in the process of the maturation.
We have time for a few more, so we'll go Martin, John, and Mike.
Hey, Marquand. Speaking of Slay, has he been what you guys have figured? I mean, has he done what you guys have expected?
You know, a guy to come in and not have a real offseason, to come in and be a leader. And you guys see that by watching him play. In this league, every play is not going to be perfect. We all understand that. If that was the case, none of us would be, we won't be interviewing us. Everybody will be at the perfect job. But I think one thing that he actually does, he brings a calm temperament to the room. And that is leadership that is always misunderstood in a good way. Like, you don't have to have a voice to always do it. Sometimes your play does it. And the way that he works after practice, the small things. Last week, he got the first DPI, which we all saw, and you know what? He was calm and cool and didn't lose. The second one came, and you know what? We battled and talked about it on the sideline to go back out and just play. And you've watched him do that, and teams made him possibly try to tackle. So that was the other part. Like, well, he's a guy that can cover, will he tackle? You guys seen the first play of the game. He came up and made hits, and he's been doing that all year. And I think just from that standpoint of making himself the complete corner, but he's been awesome in the room, more than even what you guys can see on the field, in the room on the Tuesdays, on the Mondays when we come in. He's done an awesome job from that standpoint.
Go ahead, John.
Hey, Marquand. It looks like you're about to get Will Parks back. What can he bring to the defense and your secondary, and what were you missing without him?
Well, Will, thanks. How you doing? Will had a good week of practice, so I think one of the things that we talked about, and it's not our decision on the back end to see if he plays or not, but he brings a versatility set where he can play down in the box possibly. He does a lot of different things on teams. I think the ultimate football player to come in and be a nice piece to help the guys out, and also experience. He's played every position, and a lot of what we do on defense is multiple positions. You guys see how we move guys around a lot. He's done them all, and I think his awareness and his situational awareness will help us from that standpoint as well, be another vocal piece on the field.
Last question here with Mike.
Marquand, we know that Craig James is a pretty good special teams player, but what has he brought to the secondary, and how well has he played when he's been out there, especially returning this past week?
Well, I'll tell you one thing about Craig, man. He's and you as a coach, you always love this. He's coachable. and he's going to go out there and do exactly what you ask him to do and try to battle and goes as hard as he possibly can. One of the things that we are still continuing to develop is you continuing to have that positive mindset every time you walk out on the field. I'm going to battle. A receiver may catch a pass on me, but I'm going to contest it in battle. I'm going to win my battles, and if they continue to throw it at me 10, I'm going to win 9. And I think that's the mindset of experience that he's continuously getting. The injury was a small, minor setback, but to see him back, that's been huge. It's hard to go. You tell anybody to go in a game, and the first time that you played in 5 weeks is pressing on a guy outside. And I took my hat off to him. He went out to battle, and most guys are back off that situation, and he didn't. So I think one of those things are that when you have a room like that where guys are willing to battle and sacrifice everything, we can do anything.
Hey, Rich. Just wanted to start out for getting your personal assessment of how both Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts have progressed so far through the early part of the season.
Yeah, to start with Carson, I think obviously there's some things that a throw here or there we'd love to have back, but I think that he's coming along, and I thought last week he showed great signs of making some great plays and standing in there and being the quarterback that is going to continue to get the offensive trend in the right direction. And as far as Jalen goes, I think he's done a really nice job. He running the scout team and not having the burden of playing right now is a real luxury for a quarterback in this league. And I think they gain a lot of confidence every day from going out there and perfecting their craft. And they can do it without the pressure of game day and getting hit in the pocket. And I think he's done a nice job of that. And I see him getting better every day, and he's been approaching it the right way.
Martin and then EJ.
Hey, Rich, if I could follow up with a question on Jalen Hurts. It seems like as the season's gone along, he's gotten a little bit more, been able to do a little bit more in each game, even like through a pass, last week and everything. What have you seen from him as far as being able to handle what you guys are throwing at him and, what his future might hold?
Well, I think that's been a great job by Doug, because it is a fine line to balance him preparing as a quarterback to be ready in one play to take over if something happened, but yet being able to work on these kind of catch plays that add an element to the offense that have generated some real tough looks for the defense and some explosive type plays. And I think that, as he's more comfortable with those things and you can bank those reps, you can carry a little bit more. But I think Jalen's approached it the right way, and it hasn't cut into his ability to prepare himself as a true, backup quarterback without the other plays.
EJ and then Bo.
Hey, Rich, when it comes to syncing up the run game and the play action game, how much do the injuries along the offensive line impact your ability to do so?
The reality, I think, just of the NFL this season is, there's a lot of variables this year. It's crazy the amount of things that go on in a building all over, and we're no different. We've had a number of injuries and things to deal with, and those are always fluid. Obviously there's, you're dealing with those things every week, and you have to adjust the style of your offense when you lose a guy like Dallas. Not only on the O-line, that's a huge impact. Him in his abilities as a run blocker. Those things affect things, and it's our job as coaches to adapt to the guys we have and to put the best plan forward. And I thought we're doing a nice job of that, and it'll only get better.
Oh, and then Mike.
Hey, Rich, the numbers for when you guys put somebody in motion at the snap, sort of that jet motion across the formation, are like the yards per play are much lower than the rest of the plays you guys run. Is there anything to that?
That's a good one. I think some of it is kind of the defenses you run into in this league. Some of it is different guys rolling in there. It's a combination of it. I wouldn't overthink something like that. But yeah, the reality of it is you want to use that to your advantage. You want to pull players out of position, especially the inside linebackers and things. You want to affect them to throw behind them or split the defense in half so that you can create seams to run the football. So yeah, you want to be as effective as you can with that stuff. And but as far as the correlation goes and why it hasn't been as effective, I couldn't tell you exactly the reason for that, other than the fact that it is a part of what we do.
Thanks.
Mike and then Zach.
Hey, Rich, given your background with quarterbacks, I was curious what role Nate Sudfeld kind of plays during the week and how important that role is to the quarterback room and the offense and practice in general.
Yeah, Nate is a really good pro, and it's I think it's important the way you build a quarterback room in the NFL. It has to be a support system for the guy who's playing, but it also has to help elevate everyone's play in the room by your work ethic, your approach to the game, your attitude, the questions you ask, how you work on the field, how you work with the scout team, how you're willing to selflessly help a guy like Jalen get better, even though you're really competing with a guy. And I think he's done a great job of that. And I think his relationship with Jalen has gotten better as they've gotten to know each other. And I see them working hard together, which I value and appreciate out of both of them. And I think they've both been supportive of Carson, which is an important thing in the NFL.
Zach and then Dave.
Hey, Rich, Carson was saying a few weeks ago that there are a lot of opinions on the coaching staff, a lot of good football minds, and it all has to be meshed together. How do you make it such that you have the diversity of kind of opinions and thoughts and knowledge that you need without overburdening Carson?
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, you always have, when you have strong coaches or people with good thoughts, it's a matter of working through it. But the reality of it is this will always be the Philadelphia Eagle offense. It will be the vision of the play caller. And I think that it's our job to always put forth the best plan for the way that Doug sees how he wants to call the game, and that reaches Carson to do the things he does best to be effective. And I think finding that balance always is important. And I think that this staff has been very cohesive and been together for the most part for a while now. So those guys know how to work with each other. They do a great job of playing off each other, and they balance things well. My role in all this, it varies week to week, quite honestly, with the type of defense you're seeing and kind of the approach to the plan and all that. And it's my job to adapt to all those things and help Doug and Carson and everyone in any way I can.
Dave and then Ed.
Rich, kind of along those lines, you are, for the most part, the newcomer with the different ideas. How have they been accepted, and is it kind of what you anticipated, or has it been different? It's been different
From the sense the day I took the job, because of really what has happened in the world. I think the off season really, unfortunately, and not to make excuses, but it's the reality of it. That lack of ability to practice in April and May and get to know the players and their strengths and the coaches to really work with them within our scheme. We understood once that happened coming into training camp that we would have to be very particular on with what we could get done, and within the confines of the limited time and the limited reps you have with your players. Knowing that, it's been I think we've done a nice job of just trying to marry what we can get done, be as efficient as possible, and then obviously the fluidity of different players being hurt, losing guys like Dallas and stuff like that, and Miles missing a good portion of training camp. All those things they all add to what you can effectively get done and feel confident about on game day to go call. And that's just the world we're in. And that's it. Can't change it. You got to make it be the best it can be. And I think that last week it was awesome to see some of that come out in some big plays and some of the play pass, and excited about where it'll continue to trend.
We'll end it here with the last question, with the last hand raise. Go ahead, Ed.
Okay. Hi, Rich. Just I wanted to ask you about Carson. It seems, in the last couple of weeks we've seen him use his legs more, on the move a little bit, get him outside the pocket, pick up whatever he can on the ground. Has that kind of been just kind of a conscious effort as the season's gone along, where you're a little more hesitant to do that earlier in the year because of his injury history? And what do you like about Carson on the move?
What I love about Carson on the move is just, there's something to be said for being a bigger quarterback in the NFL. Just the ability to shed guys in the pocket, out on the perimeter. Those guys, little DBs, they don't want to come up and put a hat on you. And it's just nice when you have a body type like Carson. I think part of that, you'd have to ask Carson why he's felt more comfortable doing it. But the reality of it is like anything, you adapt to, kind of the world, what you're like as an offense in those moments. As coaches, you have to adapt to the players you have, and as a player, you have to adapt to what's around you. And he's had some all-pro players in front of him for a few years too, and so sometimes now you got to be a little more sensitive to making sure that my legs might help this team, and I think that he's done a nice job of balancing that, and I think it's a strength of his, and I think him continuing to do that, but be smart with his body out in space, gives us a great opportunity for more big plays down the field.
Thank you.
We'll actually take one more here from Jeff, if you're all right with that, Coach.
Rich, you mentioned the offseason obviously truncated, and the fact that it may have affected how much that you could contribute to the offense, because maybe you just didn't have time to work on a lot of those intricacies. You've said before about how there's a lot of the marrying of the running the pass. It's very nuanced and very hard for the untrained eye to realize. Is that what we're seeing? I mean, has the offense changed much? Is there really? Have you been able to contribute much in that regard, or is that we just can't see it?
Yeah, obviously the goal was always to work within the system and the continuity that has been built here, and to take what Philadelphia has accomplished here, and we're not reinventing the wheel. We're trying to just make it a little more effective within the system that we run. And I think we have done that as much as we possibly could with the time that you're allotted. A lot of the issues, you can only run a receiver so long, and you only have so many reps, and you have a month to get ready. And the timing elements, they're tricky, and they take work, and you have to bank reps. And I think as the season goes along, I thought it started to make some progress, especially as we've had other guys step in. And I think they've done a nice job. But it's, the reality is like, it's always exciting when you have a bunch of chess pieces and you can manipulate the defense and take them to the world you want to play in. And having guys like Dallas and multiple type players and all that stuff, it makes it exciting. With a guy pairing them with a guy like Zach and all that. And obviously, when an injury happens, you adapt. And so we just had to do things a little bit differently, and we'll find a way to make it work.